Coming up, an introduction to the southern Sweden games industry and why you should consider it both as a company and as a developer.
I think Sweden and southern Sweden is the best place to be.
We'll talk to some of the studios.
There's so many studios, but it never feels like rivalry.
Look at some of the games that are being developed in the region. Go behind the scenes and meet some of the students from our world-class game developer school.
For anyone who is considering moving to southern Sweden to work with games, I'd say do it.
Hello, my name is Olof Tedin and I'm a representative for the Southern Sweden Games Industry Delegation to London Games Festival this year. I would like to welcome you to the presentation of our region. Now we have a video from IO Interactive, one of the panelists, to showcase some of the voices of international game developers in Malmö. Please enjoy.
Hello and welcome to IOI Malmö. I'm Ivo, I'm a sound designer here, and I've been working here for a year and a half, and today I will be showing you what it is like to be an Ionian here in Malmö. Welcome.
So basically coming to Malmö was like an easy choice because in Europe it's like one of the central hubs that is like growing when it comes to game developers, right? You have a lot of talented studios that are being established here since the last 5 to 10 years. And it's like you come to a place where you actually find people that have a common desire and just make fun games.
I'm Joshua Smith. I'm the lead sound designer on a new unannounced project at IOI. I've been working in games for 13 years. And I've only been here in Sweden for a couple of months now, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I like Malmö because it's not a big city, but it's very dense. When you're going around, there's something everywhere. You can get around anywhere in 15-20 minutes on a bike. You don't need a car. Everything's available. You have all of these little microcosms of stuff spread throughout the city. So even still, you know, my partner and I will be walking around and we'll take the dogs for a walk and we turn a corner and we're like, what is this place? What is this restaurant? It's like, this is around the corner from us and we haven't even seen it yet. And I feel like that just keeps happening throughout the city. So it's really nice. It's small, but every day you find something new that you didn't notice before.
So friendly, like it feels like everyone wants you to feel at home. And especially here in the team, like we have people coming from all over the world, right? And everyone brings like their own small thing, and that's great because everyone's different, and we should celebrate that. And I love that. Like I used to be very self-conscious of my accent, but here I'm just proud of it. You know, that everyone has their own way of saying things, and yeah, I mean, everyone's a friend here.
I'm Garima. Like, I'm from India. So I arrived in Sweden on 31st of July and I joined office on 2nd of August. So basically, I'm from like Lux Digital. It's a keyword studio. Like, it's an outsourcing studio. So basically, last week was like fun for me because I just joined. I was just meeting people in the office. And they were really helpful and really approachable people, so we had fun. So we went to play football as well. Yeah.
A lot of people always ask me, why did you go from being an artist to being a producer? And the thing was, like, when you're working as an artist, you work on your own stuff, you get to see what you are doing, but like that's the only thing that you actually get to influence. So moving over to a production role, I was able to oversee the whole project, see the whole thing, how everything is being developed. So that was like a big thing for me. And then like coming over here to Malmö was, I mean, so far it's been a great experience. The reason I decided to come back to Sweden was since I used to live here before, I just fell in love with the Scandinavian culture. the whole work-life balance. I always really appreciate it over here. I mean, I really enjoy being able to have some time after work. I mean, one thing that happened when I first moved to Stockholm was like around 6 p.m. people were heading home. And me being used from Mexico, like for me leaving early was around 8, 9 p.m. So suddenly I can go home by 6 and I was like, what do I do with all this time? It's like, it's too much. So that's something that was really important to me, to be able to have like a life outside of work. And then of course being able to work on the 007 project.
It seems like the Swedish culture is very entrepreneurial in a way. There's lots of very small businesses. There's a lot of these small restaurants that have 6 seats and they do one thing really well. And I enjoy that because it allows you to have a lot of new experiences in a small space. And then if you need to go to the big city, you can go to Copenhagen easily, just hop on the train, go right across. We've also been up to Stockholm, not that far, you know, so if you need to get that big city experience, you can do that really quickly. And then also just where you're at in Europe, it's very easy to get to lots of places.
Now I would like to introduce you to another key aspect of the games industry ecosystem here in southern Sweden, the Game Assembly, one of the best game developer schools in the world.
What makes our education so valuable and successful is how well we prepare our students for working in the games industry.
I started the Game Assembly in 2017, the Game Arts program, and then I went to do my internship in 2019 and graduated in 2020. Today I am a character artist at a studio in Malmö called Sharkmob. I definitely feel like I was prepared for what came to be at the studio. The biggest difference was how much time I had spent on things, but otherwise everything felt almost exactly like it was at school.
Hello, my name is Linda Nilsson and I work as education leader at the Game Assembly in Malmö, Sweden. Around 90% of our students finishing their educations with us actually end up with a job within the games industry. And this really shows how we train our students in a way that matches the needs in the games industry. At the Game Assembly in Malmö, we have 5 educations. We have game programmers, game artists, game animators, level designers, and technical artists. When you apply to the school, you apply for one of these programs, and then you stay with that program for the rest of your education. And this really makes you specialized and qualified within your specific area.
So I went to the Game Assembly to study game art for the Game Arts program, which is kind of broad. It covers both animation and technical art, but it mostly focuses on the 3D art aspects.
We prepare our students by actually simulating a workplace. So the students are at the school every day, 8 hours a day. So alongside the discipline-specific courses, our students make games together in cross-disciplinary game projects. And this is the whole education. So they make games all the time. And we have this set up because we understand how important it is to actually understand the whole game production process for the students. And this really makes them prepared for making games professionally.
It does a very good job in preparing you for the industry in the sense that we do these game projects during our education that are formed to be similar to how it is you do game projects in the reality. So they're sort of like a mini games project summed up into like 4 or 8 to 10 weeks. That is very similar to how games are carried out in reality, I would say.
So this also is a great opportunity for the students to communicate with each other and like completely dive into the world of game development. We have a close relationship with the games industry. We also have a lot of guest lectures from companies. We have alumni coming into the school, like giving portfolio feedback sessions, and we host events together.
Part of the Game Assembly education, we do our internship.
And we help our students finding their internships by hosting a huge event called the Game Assembly's Meet and Greet, which is actually coming up very soon in April. At this event, we have a fair-like setup where we invite game companies, so our students actually can meet them, introducing themselves and showing up their portfolio in search for internship. And this is a really successful event where most of our students actually find the company that they will do their internship at later on.
The meet and greet in my year, I met some people from SharkMob, and they basically just welcomed me right away and said, yes, you should be with us. And I agreed, and I went to the studio, and I loved the project. So that's how I ended up there.
We do receive great feedback from the companies where students do their internship at. We often get the feedback that the students are well prepared to work within their discipline.
I think going to the Game Assembly was definitely the best decision I've made in my life. I just knew I wanted to work with games. I wanted to work on a creative project together with other people. I just knew that this was what I wanted to do. I was so lucky when I was finally accepted to the school.
From our students that have gone through our education, we always get the feedback that it was intense period at the school, also incredibly creative, and they learn so much. And then coming out into the games industry, they feel well prepared to actually start making games professionally.
For anyone who is considering moving to southern Sweden to work with games, I'd say do it. It's the greatest place ever to work, I think. So many companies, so many lovely people, and Sweden makes the best games anyway. So yes, I say do it.
Have you ever wondered what it's like being a game developer in Sweden? Well, if that's the case, then I have a treat for you. Coming up is a panel with 3 outstanding studios, moderated by Will Freeman.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm very lucky. We're very lucky to be joined by a panel of experts who are, of course, from the Swedish game development community. Very quickly, my name's Will Freeman. I am a freelance video games journalist. I also do bits of script editing, copywriting for games, lots of different things to do with words and games. You might see me in publications like The Guardian and Edge, but we're not here to hear about me. We've got people with much more relevant perspectives. So, yeah, I presume there was a huge cheer from the audience. And then without further ado, people have heard enough from me already. So I'll ask if you to introduce yourselves, kind of your studio, and a little bit about your job role. Therese, should we start with yourself?
Yes, hi, Will. Nice to meet you. So my name is Therese, and I work as a talent acquisition partner here at SharkMob in Malmö. And SharkMob is a AAA studio which was founded in 2017. We've grown, and we are currently about 330 people. We also have a studio in London, but the majority of our employees are actually based in Malmö. Don't know if you want to know anything else?
That's a great introduction. We've heard about SharkMob and your role. I'm sure we'll hear more about it. So, perfect. I'll do them in order of people. I can see people on the screen. Sandra, it'd be great to hear a little bit about yourself and IO.
Yes, of course. Welcome to this panel. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Sandra. I work as the HR manager for IO Interactive's studio in Malmö. We have 3 studios around the world, one in Copenhagen where we were founded. Our second one is here in Malmö in the south of Sweden. And then our third one is in Barcelona in sunny Spain. And we're currently working, we just released Hitman 3. Which we're very proud of. And then we're, of course, working on the new 007 project, so a James Bond origin story, which is co-developed by all of our 3 locations, and something we're very excited about. And yeah. I am just super keen to talk about all of the wonderful opportunities of southern Sweden and the game community that we have here, which is one of a kind.
Excellent. I cannot already feeling the enthusiasm and can't wait to hear more of that. Last but not least, Sarah.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sarah. I work at Thunderful. My title is Operations Manager. So I work a little bit in recruitment, HR, some employee branding events, and I'm also producer and social media. And Thunderful Development has 4 offices in Sweden. So we have in southern Sweden, Karlshamn and Malmö, and we also have Gothenburg and Skövde. And we also have the game segment, which is consistent of some publishing in Germany and Spain and the UK. So we're growing very fast, which is very fun. We have very many projects we're currently working on. So super excited to be here and talk to you guys.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, all three of you, for those introductions. I'm sure the audience will have detected by now there's a little bit of leaning towards kind of recruitment and roles, which is going to be quite a kind of thrust of the theme of the discussion here, in terms of the opportunities there are almost wherever you are based in the world to find a games making or games career in southern Sweden. Before we do that, though, just to set a bit of context, it would just be, I've already heard the kind of enthusiasm and passion for the local, so to speak, local game development community. Like, how optimistic do you guys feel about the kind of current and future games industry in Sweden? Does it feel like it's known a bit as a hub, right? I just wondered how that feels from inside, so to speak. I don't know if anyone wants to dive in. Sandra.
Absolutely. I think Sweden and southern Sweden is the best place to be in Europe, and if not in the world. We have such amazing people here who live the Scandinavian way of life and thrive during that, which means that work-life balance is not a question, really. You get to do things you love with people who share the same kind of ideas and aspirations as values as yourself. And that, I think, attracts so many people who are like-minded in the same way that we are open for everyone, because we come from everywhere. And I think that really brings the community together, a shared passion for games development in whatever aspect it might be, combined with an international workforce with plenty and many, many years of experience, combining it into this hub where we can all benefit from each other and we actually like each other. And we have a whole community who's based on like networking between us. And I think that is what southern Sweden and Malmö has that can't be found anywhere else in the world.
Right. Sarah, you're nodding. Do you feel that kind of same energy about the local community?
Just like working in Sweden in general is so amazing. We have so many amazing perks here. But just in southern Sweden, there's so many studios, but it never feels like rivalry of some sort. So I totally agree with everything that you said, Sandra. I think it's an amazing place to be. And we're in Karlshamn, so we're a bit outside, but even here we have we have different game studios, but we all help each other. We're all there for each other. And there's so many different fun events here. And I agree.
Great. I mean, sorry, Therese, without asking you to say I agree, although you're allowed to say that, of course. Do you feel that same energy?
I think that the previous comments are very true and very accurate. I also think that the proximity for Malmö, it's the proximity to Copenhagen, the proximity to the rest of Europe, just easy way of living and also easy way of commuting in the region also provides a great base for amazing talent to join and amazing games to make.
And does it feel, a question to all of you, does it feel, you're all representing kind of successful, growing Swedish games companies with an international reach. Does that feel that is happening beyond your three companies? Like there is this kind of growth and momentum building to the Swedish game industry? I imagine no one's going to say no.
I would say that it's probably it's gained momentum because you have these large studios that can attract a lot of talent, but sometimes you have other projects in mind and you want to perhaps start your own project, your own indie studio, and it's just possible to do that here, and that also enables people to pursue their dreams and their own projects. And I think that it's amazing that we have so many diverse studios as well, big, small, indie, AAA. It really provides the whole spectrum of the different projects you can work on. It also enables people, if they come here and they want to develop their skills or try new projects, there are so many different studios to choose from, and I think that's great.
I think that's very unique to our region. Maybe you can find it in Montreal or Vancouver, but I think here in Malmö, having so many different studios with so many different cool projects is very unique. That also means that if talent come, they might stay, which is great for our region. You mentioned it a little bit, Will, about people going back and forth. And it also means if we're relocating a family from across the world, if maybe SharkMob hires one and we hire someone, the other partner, or Thunderful. Like we can use each other to really make an appealing package for people with families. And I think that is very, very unique. And the relationship that we have between us as companies really brings that value up of the region.
Yeah, I agree, and I also feel that, like we said, there's a thing for everyone. Like if they want to work in like minor teams, major teams, big company, small company, if they want to start their own, then there are so much great opportunities for them to do that. So it's really amazing, really.
I'm already sold. I think I'm just going to leave the panel now and check out your careers pages. Yeah, no, a few things have come up a few times. I'm trying to decide which to pick on. I love this thing of like, one of the things I found in my research is this kind of close community between the studios and also maybe some friendly rivalry. Like, why is that? Is that a reflection of Swedish culture, Southern Swedish culture, something else? I think, to be fair, the global games industry is like one where there's a lot of shared enthusiasm for the same thing, but it seems a bit more than that in southern Sweden, maybe.
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Yes.
A polite pause. I think that partly it's because probably a lot of game veterans have worked at the different studios. So we have a lot of employees here who have experience from the different studios, and it's just also that collaborative nature that Sandra was talking about, that if we bring a family here, the options and opportunities to work with different studios, to have that longevity in your stay here in this region also provides a good collaboration between the studios. But I think it's also that we all share the same passion for games, but also the same interest in developing the region and attracting talent from all over the world. And to be able to do that, we need to work together.
Cool. And I guess it's a similar question almost, but I'm wondering kind of why this has thrived in Malmo and southern Sweden in particular. Is there a wider culture of kind of creativity and technology? I'm just wondering almost beyond games if it's kind of part of a bigger movement or culture locally.
I would say Malmö is a very creative city. It's developed a lot. It's come from being very industrial to be very driven by tech and industries in that sector. And I think that blossoming of the entire town and region has really fostered this community that if we want this to work, we as developers and individuals have to make something happen. And thereby also saying that the government and all of the NGOs, Game Habitat, they do so much to foster this and keep it going, to keep our developers in touch with each other, to make sure they can have friends across multiple studios. And that at the same time fosters the good story internally. It's not like we're like angry with each other for getting a good employee that we may be with. We see it as an addition to our community. And since it will go in circles, then maybe 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the line, this employee will go to Thunderful. And we will all benefit from that.
I also think, Will, that we also have great universities in the region. We also have large global corporations that have also really developed ingenuity and innovation and driven that development. So I think that also brings a good base for entrepreneurship and innovation. With all the research facilities are in the region as well. So that probably started the whole process of this region being so forward-thinking and when it comes to technology.
Right, sure. And I guess when I think of Sweden's game industry, I think of games like Nokia being there early, right? And there being mobile tech talent before the rest of the world caught up with mobile. It feels like it kind of goes back kind of further in terms of the history of technology there. Does that feel fair to say? Yeah.
Well, you have traditional tech or engineering like Tetra Pak and Ericsson.
Oh, yeah.
Alfa Laval. You have these very traditional industries, but they, on the other hand, also need to develop and digitalize. So I guess that just brings more talent to the region, more companies that want to be here, more investments, and also the collaboration with the universities also bring good things.
Yeah, and they've come up quite a few times, kind of the state support. One of my questions, which I now don't really need to ask directly, about, it seems there's the state support there, I guess, the local talent supply seems good. There are initiatives people know about kind of from beyond the southern Swedish games or the area, kind of events like Nordic Game. But are you well supported by kind of initiatives and state and so on where you are?
Yes. 100%.
I would just say yes. Yes to all the questions. Thinking, I don't know, examples of kind of some of the stuff you have going on locally that supports the industry.
I mean, I think about, we have, similar to Game Habitat, we have Blekinge Business Incubator and Game Party in Karlshamn, which hosts events like an Archipelago Game Jam and Creative Coast. And we also have the university here, Blekinge Institute of Technology. So there's a lot of events going on here, and to meet talent and going to Malmö and being here, and there are a lot of great people here, and we do feel we get the support here, and I know Malmö feels the same way about, like, for example, they are at Game Habitat, so and I know they love it there.
Yeah.
And your mention of Creative Coast, hopefully that means without me actually doing anything, I can magically make a video materialize. Sorry, if you don't mind putting this to me, what is Creative Coast exactly? Obviously, we're seeing some footage of what does not exactly look like typical footage of game development taking place.
Yeah, no, usually Creative Coast is hosted in just by the pier by the university here in Karlshamn. And there are student projects, companies. We have had people from all over the games industry here have lectures, people from Blizzard, just very different people. And here you see a game jam that happened last year. So they basically rented a big cabin and brought a lot of Coca-Cola, and they made games all weekend. And it was amazing, really. But I know they are, Creative Coast this year will be in May. And so if you're interested in Karlshamn and just like games in general, I really recommend Creative Coast. It's super fun. You meet great people. You meet students, you meet companies, get to listen to amazing talks. So it's really fun.
And I guess the next thing to ask for, get to zero in a bit more on people that are actually thinking, wow, maybe this is for me. Like I'd find it intimidating, the idea of moving I find lots in life intimidating, but moving to another country, like that's a big move. Is that something studios like those you represent, to put it more simply, like, should people be intimidated by that? It sounds intimidating, starting a new job in a distant country. Like, are there ways you can smooth that process for people?
Absolutely. It takes, of course, it's daunting. Like, there's no doubt about, like, any changing any job is scary, and it's a new path in life. But I think you won't be the first one going through this. We've relocated between us probably hundreds and thousands of people from all over the world. And I think that we do this for a living, and we know how scary it can be. I relocated myself. It's a big journey, even if it's just a little trip. There's new cultures, there's no work habits, there's new friends, new people to meet. But we know how to do this, and we will support you through the entire process, either in-house or connecting you to people, making sure you learn the language, helping you move, getting a visa. You're being handheld through the entire process because we know how important this is to you as a person. And I think we can all agree on that being like the first step in you settling into a nice life in Sweden is to make sure you feel welcome. And the second you land, that you have an apartment and hopefully a bank account, you can get your salary and have your lunch.
And I guess that would be similar at Sharkmob and Thunderful, right? You've become fairly familiar with welcoming people in both practically and in spirit.
I would say that we have our fair share. I think we have 35 nationalities within Sharkmob. Wow. So we have a lot of people that have relocated from all over the world. So as Sandra said, we do have experience doing this. We've done this before. We also have a lot of employees that have done the exact same journey. And I think that also what helps is that in Sweden, you can get by using English. I mean, everyone, it's almost that it's a challenge learning Swedish, because as soon as a Swede hears that you speak English, like, oh, great, I want to practice my English. So it's actually probably the difficulty is learning Swedish.
Right.
Several years here. So I think that in terms of settling in and getting adapted to the Swedish way of working and work life in general, I think it's fairly easy. And as Sandra said, we've done it before. We know what we're doing, and we will guide you along the way and help you as much as possible.
And something you guys have mentioned a few times is kind of the international culture, I guess, both of game development, and it feels like southern Sweden, like, you know, the games industry is making progress but has a way to go with equality and equity and representation and diversity. It feels like there's already quite a diverse and representative working culture in Sweden. I'm sure there's progress to be made, but does that feel fair?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, you can always be better, but I know everyone's working hard on making sure that every team, every workplace is diverse, because that's super important.
Diversity, inclusion, and that is a big topic for all of us. We're trying as best as we can to create inclusive environments, and we do have like multiculturality is also inclusivity and diversity. We have to work on many other aspects. There are plenty of underrepresented people and groups that we need to try and build up, and we're doing that in close collaboration with schools all over the world. But just as with Sharkmob and Teresa said, we have like also 30-something nationalities, and that's a different way of including as well. Sweden and southern Sweden have had a multicultural quality of life and a lot of integration from all over the world, which makes it such a dynamic and creatively interesting place to be, because you can always find someone from way across the globe who might have a similar interest to you. So what we really need to foster is the communication between like-minded people who have similar interests so they can feel integrated, and at the same time expose all of the interesting, difficult, and different conversations we can have with each other that will continue to foster this. And I think that is where we really work well together, and Game Habitat has done a lot to foster this between the studios. For me, that's diversity and inclusion as well. We cater for lifestyles, we cater for family situations, whatever that might be for you. And this is a place to be for that.
That's a really interesting point, inclusion around like notions like family, right? That's not normally discussed in the kind of conversation about the progress the game industry needs to make, but that is something to include. Like, you know, I ended up as one of those parents, and suddenly that would certainly be on my mind. But it sounds like this, I just getting this sense there's a kind of internationally minded, welcoming mindset in place already, even if there is a long way to go.
100%.
Yeah.
Something we've mentioned time and again is work-life balance, working culture. You know, I guess when I was living in London, which I'm not anymore, I live on a kind of small coastal town, which is much nicer. But when I was living in London and would go to Malmö and southern Sweden on game industry trips, it would feel quite different culturally, and in kind of somebody at the beginning, it might have been Sandra, mentioned that thing of kind of like the Scandinavian lifestyle. It'd just be a bit more, you know, I don't expect you to speak of kind of all Swedish culture and experience, but it feels there's something distinct there in terms of both working culture and living culture. I'd love to hear some more about that. Sorry, that was a very long, winding question. No, go on, Therese, please.
I'll jump in. Sorry. I think that generally speaking, in Sweden, due to legislative initiatives that have been taken when it comes to parental leave, that we have a very generous parental leave, and it's also aimed towards not only the mother taking maternity leave, but also the father or the significant other also being able to take time to spend time with their kids. That kind of makes it's a baseline for work-life balance. We also have an educational system or a tax subsidized system that enables children to go to preschool for practically nothing from the age of 1. And that also enables a good work-life balance where both parents can work, but also have time to spend time with their family and children. And I'm sure that Thunderful and IO Interactive have a similar stance to flexible work hours, being able to drop off your kids at school, being able to pick up your kids at school, being able to kind of cater your work hours to be able to. Sorry, that will have to be edited.
Right.
I myself stumbling a bit here, but what I'm trying to say is that for us, it's important to have a healthy work-life balance. If your private life, if that aspect of your life is not working, you will not be a happy, productive employee. So it's impossible. It's important for us to make it possible to have both, to have a functioning family and also have a good work life.
And while I feel that that's obviously amazing, but I also feel it's kind of quite normal in the mindset of the Swedish game industry, right? That it's a southern Swedish game industry. Like, yes, that you hear companies say that here in the UK where I'm sat now, but there's a feeling this is just seen as how it should be in Sweden. I'd just love to hear more on kind of that value, how work-life balance is valued and supported there.
Well, it's so important, and I know many companies have, for example, wellness grants, which allows the employees to get a certain amount each year to use for wellness activities outside of work. So, for example, massages, foot care, it can be used for like gym memberships. I don't know why I said foot care, but I'm going to go with it.
That probably is included as well.
Yeah,
it's my main motivation for coming to Sweden. No, sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. And we also, coming to many studios, and we have that as well, is the weekly wellness hours. So you basically have some hours each week that you can use for wellness, like massages and foot care. That you don't have to use your work hours to like go to the gym, or if you want to go swimming, or whatever you feel like doing that makes you feel good. So I feel like there are a lot of companies, us included, that has so many great perks for the employees for them to have a great work-life balance, and that's just some of ours.
Cool. The next question, I've meticulously researched everything I'm asking, but I admit I was told to ask this one, which is to ask about what is Fika and how does that affect the workspace? I don't know. I might know a little bit, but I don't really know what I'm asking. But is that something that is practiced at your studios? Sandra, I'm going to throw that one to you.
Yes. I don't think we would have a lot of happy employees if we didn't have Fika. Fika is basically a very, very mandated break in the middle of the day, usually around between 2 and 4, where you have cake, coffee, a chat with your coworkers. You meet, you hang out, you get away from your desk. It can be 5 minutes or it can be 30. At IOI, we often use it to welcome a new employee, that we get cake for the entire studio, and then we meet out in the kitchen and we say hi and we mingle, and it's just a really good way to kind of clear your mind, refocus, talk to your colleagues in an informal setting. Plus, you get some sugar and some caffeine. Makes everybody happy. And whenever I talk to people about relocating, I say Fika is a religion. Like, it's very serious. And you can also see little groups do it on their own. It's basically just an organized break.
Yeah, but it's interesting, right? I guess you could think like a mandated organized break could sound like the opposite of what a break and relaxing is about. But I guess making sure it happens, right? I'm self-employed. I can take a break whenever I want, in theory, but then I get to the end of the day and I haven't taken a break. So it's an amazing idea that there's that much importance put on, I guess, a kind of ritual as well as a break. Therese, is Fika happening at Shark Mob?
Oh, we could never do without Fika.
I love how seriously this is taken.
I was going to say it's a mandatory thing. We even have you can tell on around 3, you can see like all the people walking up the stairs from wherever their corner of the building they're sitting in, and then everyone gathers in the kitchen, like almost like dogs waiting to get their food, like just waiting for that pastry or that cup of coffee. And it's just a pleasant break and being able to take a breather and focus on something else.
I was thinking earlier when we talked about like learning Swedish and stuff, I mean, I believe we have like documents that we send to international people moving here where it's like one of the first things is like, oh, you have the tax agency address, and then you have Fika. But also we have like so many pastry days. I believe that's like a Swedish, like we celebrate so many different, like pancake day, waffle day, semla is a weird
cinnamon bun day.
Yeah, cinnamon bun day.
So many things to choose from.
Yeah, which we all eat during Fika. So it's like we look at the calendar. It's like, when's the next pastry day? Oh, it's a waffle day next Friday. So we have to do that.
Yeah.
I really enjoy how the mention of Fika
comes in. Like, we need to balance all the cake with some little bit of health. Yeah.
Right. I just enjoy the mention of the word Fika, put a smile on all your faces and a very serious look in your eye, which I think, but it does seem to capture something of that is about, we've talked about so many themes like being welcoming, being embracing, community. It feels like Fika perhaps captures that. I'd love to also hear just anything more, I was going to say, less obviously connected to game development, but the geography of where we live, especially having lived in London, it feels like a spacious place, a place that's good for the head and soul. I may be able to make another video materialize using the powers of my mind in this moment, which is just some footage from the area, not specifically to do with game development in any way, and we certainly don't have to talk about it. But I guess just, we've talked about work-life balance, let's talk about the life side of that. Like, why is it a pleasant place to be when you're not working?
Well, it's very close to nature. I mean, even Malmö, with all the city center and everything, it's still very close to nature. You can, as you could see in the pictures, you have the seaside right next to it. It's possible to go swimming. Just a bike ride away, you can access beautiful parks and spacious green areas where you can hike or do whatever activity you care to do. So it has a lot to offer, I would say.
And it's a distinct part of the world, right? I guess being privileged enough to have travelled a fair bit for work, and I've seen many different cultures across Europe and the West, but often there can be, how to put it, when I've travelled to Sweden, and to be fair to Scandinavia and the area in general, it actually feels perhaps more distinct than other places much further away, right? It feels like a really distinct part of the world in terms of what's going on. Or maybe it doesn't to you because you're based there.
I think Scandinavia has something very unique. The Nordics, there's not always a lot of sun, but when there is, we really make the best of it, and you can just see everything blossom. We have all of the seasons, which also means that we're very good at adjusting to changing circumstances, and I think that is a lot that drives us as a community and as an industry here. But I think the geographical placement of Sweden and like the proximity to Copenhagen for southern Sweden, as Therese also mentioned, we can fly anywhere. You have access to Europe on your doorstep, and it gives so much mobility and freedom combined with all of the time you technically have off to go on vacation. It means you can really make the most of the time that you're not working. And I think that is a major plus for being in this part of the world.
and sorry, you're in a different area from Malmo, but similar things, similarly appealing there. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say Malmo and Karlshamn are similar but yet different. So we're about 2 hours away from Malmo by train, and we are a very much smaller city, which very, very like cute city, like very old buildings and like a big town square, super cozy, like forest everywhere, right by the ocean. We have a beautiful ocean view, and it's just like if you're looking for Malmo, but like smaller, I would say, then Karlshamn's great. It's just like very picturesque. I believe it's the word in English.
Right. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
You make me want to go, Sarah.
Yeah.
What? You make me want to go to Karlshamn.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah. You're not meant to be recruiting each other at the moment, by the way. No. Yeah, I mean, that sounds amazing. Like just all that time, just looking at my screen and my gleaming, hardly used enough mountain bike is behind me, and you're talking about forests and work-life balance, and I want to move there immediately. We're actually kind of running out of time now, so just, it could just, I'm sure we could have made the whole panel this particular question, but if you just have one bit of advice for a person thinking like, oh, maybe this is the opportunity for me, whether it's where to start or what they should consider, it'd be great to just get one practical or encouraging tip. Therese, I'm going to pick you first for this one.
It's very easy. Just come over. I mean, come visit, see it for yourself. I'm sure you'll be sold.
Yeah, and that's a really nice point, right? Coming to visit is an important part of it, and a great excuse to have a holiday that can be an investigative trip. Sarah?
Basically what Therese was saying, just like go for it. Come if you enjoy what we have talked about today, the great work-life balance, all of perks that southern Sweden has. Just like come here. Yeah.
Do it. Sandra, do you want to go for that one as well?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We want to do some research from home first. Like look online, look to all of the websites of either of us. We'll have written information about what it's like to move to Sweden. You can read testimonies from other employees. You can read about the relocation details, what Sweden has to offer. Get in touch with any of us online. Reach out. We're happy to talk. I'm not speaking for everybody. Sorry. This is what we do for a living, and we want to make sure that the people who come here are happy to come. And if you have questions, it's just to reach out. Come visit. Let us know you're in town. Maybe we can meet up for a little fika. Who knows?
Yeah, great. Not maybe, definitely. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun. It's been genuinely interesting. I've really appreciated, I'm sure the audience have all of your insight. Yeah, just have that kind of three expert voices. I've been lucky to have this conversation, and I like where I live, but southern Sweden sounds great. Anyway, thank you so much. It's always slightly unusual signing off when the audience aren't there, but I'm sure they're giving a huge applause, and we will call that done. Thanks to the audience for staying with us, listening intently, and maybe we'll see you in southern Sweden.
Well, thank you. Bye.
I really hope you enjoyed that panel. Thank you all in the audience for watching. That was the last piece of our presentation. I would like to thank London Games Festival for helping us create this amazing delegation. And if you want to know more about Skåne, southern Sweden, or the games industry in our region, please, you will find my contact information somewhere around. And with that, I would like to leave you with a show reel of all the games that are being produced in southern Sweden.